Smell that? That's napalm, son. Nothing else in the world smells like that. I remember we're in the train and we napalm this whole hill. I mean the whole hill. That smell, that gasoline smell, smelled like victory. Someday this war is going to end.
Hey you guys, I'm Venus Monique from the hit crime drama Vindication, and you guys should definitely make sure you're catching the Maurice Brown Show on Roku TV.
Yeah! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show NBA edition. That was my impression of Captain Bill Kilgore from the movie Apocalypse Now. Someday this war's going to end, and it couldn't be any sooner. And hey, talking with my main man, Cameron Robinson. Cameron, welcome to the Maurice Brown Show NBA edition.
Thank you for having me.
Cameron, it's great to have you on the show. You have some experience on the hardwood. You played at Mount Olive University as the starting point guard for 4 years. Actually had an opportunity to play at the Dean Dome and Chapel Hill. So you know a thing or two about the hardwood. Glad to have you aboard. We're gonna talk about what's going on in the NBA right now. The NBA headlines has Ja Morant at the center of it. Unfortunately, one of the finest players the NBA has seen in a while, 23-year-old sky jumper, got himself into some trouble. Okay, Ja Morant got himself into some trouble, and it all started out with him getting into a fist fight with a 17-year-old kid in his backyard. And afterwards, the next day, after he beats up the kid, shows up at the kid's house with a weapon being brandished. He didn't take it out, but he wanted the kid to see that he had a gun in his belt. No charges were filed. Prior to that, I think he got into something at a basketball game. I think his dad was there. Some words were exchanged. I think that he met some Indiana Pacer players outside. You might know more about that. Outside in the parking lot, and there were some red beams flashed on their chest, whatever. No charges were filed. And now there's an Instagram post going around with him brandishing a weapon that he's been letting everybody see and whatnot. He's been suspended for who knows, maybe the next 2 games. It could be indefinite. Your thoughts on this situation with Ja Morant?
Yeah, I just believe that his actions, especially with all these, different situations coming up with him, I think it's careless. I think it's just been careless, and I don't think a 2-game suspension is enough for me. Ja Morant he's my favorite player in the NBA right now. But I think the IG Instagram live where he flashed a gun, I think that was kind of like the last straw. And I was like, okay, I think he needs to be set an example of. I think the NBA needs to, since he is Ja Morant, since he is who he is, they need to make an example out of him. Do I believe they need to suspend him for the remainder of the season? No. I think that's a little harsh, but I think 2 games is just being let off a little easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to money for the NBA. I mean, Ja Morant is essentially the face of the NBA, and the fact that Adam Silver has not intervened and said anything publicly to this point about the matter is a problem.
Yeah.
And it sends a wrong message to young people out there that are watching this.
Right.
So superstars can get a pass, if they do something wrong. So all I have to do is become a superstar and I can get a pass too.
Right.
That's the message that's being sent right now. I mean, the question is, what message are we sending young athletes for major missteps made by stars? Brandon Miller, the starting forward for the University of Alabama, ranked 4th in the country, all right, had his gun used in the murder of a female. He didn't do it, but he loaned his weapon out to a friend who committed murder. And until the investigation is complete, hey, he should not be playing. And yet he's starting for Alabama, playing in major games as they prepare for the SEC tournament coming up. You know, they're going to be a number 1 seed. I do believe at this point they look like they will have a strong chance of being a number 1 seed. Alabama has not set him down. Alabama wants to win a championship.
Yeah.
They are a perennial champion on the football field, and now they have an opportunity to even win one on the basketball court. Do you know how much money the University of Alabama will get if they're able to get this done?
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so the wrong message is being sent to young athletes. I'm going to tell you right now, you're talking about a good old boy university, Alabama. We're talking about Alabama, arguably one of the most racist states in the union, protecting a kid who's involved in hood business. Well, since when does that happen?
Exactly.
That doesn't happen.
It doesn't at all.
The only color that is universally accepted is green. And if you could bring me green, I love you.
Right.
That's all. This is not about Brandon Miller's well-being. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with Alabama winning a championship. So we're looking at this scourge in sports where the wrong message is being sent to young athletes. And if you look at what's happening with Ja Morant right now, I'm glad he came out. He admitted that he made a mistake. I'm looking at Ja Morant now, and I'm like, someone should be in his corner, getting his attention, and saying, "Dude, you got to step away from all this madness."
Right.
Step away from all this madness. His boys, his entourage, protecting Ja Morant. They should be counseling Ja Morant, saying, "Yo, Ja, you're not doing this. You're not going there. You need to stop whatever. No, dude, I got you back, and I'm not going to let you do this."
Right.
His entourage should be doing that. His dad should be doing that. From this point forward, if they hadn't been doing it in the past, they need to be doing it now.
Right. Exactly.
Like, this stops now. Okay, 23-year-old African-American who's already gotten his world solved for the rest of his life. He's financially free. And now this.
Right.
And you're right. I mean, suspending him for the season may be a little harsh, but it's definitely got to be more than 2 games.
2 games, yeah. Definitely needs to be more than 2 games.
So we're looking at that, and I'm just looking at it. I think the commentary that's being sent to young people, we have a problem in our nation when it comes to doing or setting the example for young people. We're always getting on young people for doing this and doing that. Well, what are the adults doing? What kind of an example are we setting for young people? And so somebody's got to, and I'm talking about this man's well-being. I'm talking about his life. So we're looking at that. The Memphis Grizzlies are if the playoffs started today, are the number 2 seed in the playoffs. Ja Morant, and you can give me your spin on this. You said he was your favorite player, so I'm apt to believe you're going to agree with what I'm about to say. But Ja Morant has all the makings of a guy that could be, and I do mean the makings, and he has the potential of a guy that could develop into a Kobe Bryant, that could develop into a Michael Jordan type of player. He's only 23. He's got a lot to learn about just the fundamentals of basketball.
Right.
That jump shot, that consistent 15-footer, that consistent 18-foot turnaround, the driving to the basket, the defense, the running of the floor, steals, rebounding. I mean, playing 94 feet. I mean, this is what Michael and Kobe did.
Right.
They played 94 feet. Ja Morant's athletic ability gives him the possibility of achieving that. He's got all the earmarks of someone who could possibly achieve that. So at 23, he's young enough prayerfully to go, okay, I messed up pretty bad right here.
Yep.
And hopefully someone in his camp can get through to him and get things turned around. let me change gears and get over to the Philadelphia 76ers. Are they championship material with Joel Embiid and James Harden?
Yeah. I was literally just talking about this at the gym earlier. I like the 76ers. I think they're a very good team. Do I think they're a championship material right now? No. I don't think they're missing a lot. I feel like, well, the X factor to me for that team is, for me, and it's been for the last couple years, is Tobias Harris.
Okay.
Joel Embiid is going to be dominant. He's going to play like Joel Embiid. I think James Harden this year has had a different mindset, and he's more focused. I love Tyrese Maxey. I think he's going to be a superstar before he hangs it up in this league. But I think the X factor for them will be Tobias Harris, because he's got to be another guy. If, Joel Embiid comes out, he needs a break, or if Harden needs to come out and he needs a break, he has to be that third guy. I think they're trying to push Maxey to be that third guy, but Tobias Harris is a veteran. I think he's been around. He's been in the playoffs before. He needs to step up on both ends of the floor. I'm not saying he has to go out and score 30 points and whatever, but he needs to average about 15 to 17 points. He needs to grab about 7 to 8 rebounds a game. And he has to be kind of like the anchor on defense. And I just don't think that. I think right now they're more focused on outscoring everybody instead of getting stops, because they can score. They have Joel Embiid and James Harden on their team. They can score with anybody. But in order for them to be a championship team, they have to be able to guard. And I don't think they're a very good defensive team at all.
I'm going to tell you that all of this rests on the shoulders of Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
I think James Harden has responsibility as well, but Joel Embiid has all the tools. Joel Embiid has the jump shot. He's got the size. He's got the ability to dominate the glass. He can be a shot blocker like Bill Russell. He's got everything. The problem with Joel Embiid, and he's going to have to take a look in the mirror and find out what he wants to be, a real superstar or just a guy that's getting paid.
Right.
Joel Embiid will put up a wonderful stat line one night, and he's missing the next 2. Great stat line the next night, missing the next 3 games.
Yep.
He's very inconsistent. Joel Embiid has the ability to be the best big man that we've seen since Shaquille O'Neal with the game.
Right.
Shaquille O'Neal didn't even have a game, and he was dumb. And Joel Embiid be that and have a game.
Yeah.
But he's got to look himself in the mirror and decide whether or not he wants to put the work in. I think he's lazy. I think Joel Embiid is all mouth, and he doesn't put his money where his mouth is consistently.
Right.
And until he does that, the Sixers are going to be the third wheel.
Yeah.
In the East.
Yep.
Okay, right now it's Boston and Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your 2 teams. Philadelphia is that third team.
Yeah.
That cannot beat Boston nor Milwaukee, in my humble opinion. I can't wait for the playoffs to start.
Yeah, I can't either. I don't believe they can beat them. I don't think they can beat them either, especially if they don't play defense. You have to play defense in order to beat Boston and Milwaukee.
That's right. That's right. You've got to run the floor, and you've got to hustle and get after it. And I'm not exonerating James Harden. James Harden doesn't like playing defense.
Exactly.
Okay, he loves to do his thing and show off and get his points and show his beard and all that stuff. Dude, you need to play some defense.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to man up, and you need to start guarding people. And Tobias Harris and all the other guys that are part of it, they have their part in this. But to me, it's just going to come down to Joel Embiid, even more than James. Joel Embiid can be the difference for the Sixers. Hey, guys, follow me. Follow me. You've got pieces that can follow you all the way to the promised land.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. The playoffs are fast approaching, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I cannot wait until they get started. That being said, I want to switch gears a little bit and go over to a comment that Charles Barkley made. Chuck's always starting stuff, but a lot of times there's a lot of truth to what Chuck says. And he says Kevin Durant needs to lead a team to a title before we can legitimize his greatness. Do you agree?
I agree. I mean, we can all look and say Kevin Durant is a great basketball player. We
Yeah,
all know that we haven't seen anybody like him at his size to be able to shoot and dribble the way he does, to be able to score in the different ways that he does. He's phenomenal.
yeah,
But if we want to compare him with the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, he's got to be able to win one by himself.
yeah.
And we can go back to where LeBron, I even said this when LeBron went to the Heat and then he went back to Cleveland. I said he has to win one in Cleveland or somewhere else in order for him to be in the conversation with Michael Jordan. And then he won one in Cleveland and then he won one in LA.
Right.
So I think Kevin Durant, it's the same thing. You can't go to another contending team and want to be considered as one of the greatest of all time. You can't do that. Now it'd be different if he went to somewhere. I think he should have went to somewhere like Portland, where they're not a contender. They have a great superstar on their team already, but they're missing a piece like Kevin Durant to take their team to the next level. The Suns, without Kevin Durant or not, were a contender to win the title.
Okay.
So everything that Charles Barkley said, I believe. I agree 100% with what he said.
I agree with him as well, and I honestly feel added to all of that, if the Suns don't win, it will tarnish Kevin Durant's career.
No.
Okay, you won a title with Golden State. Everyone said, I don't think you should have gone to Golden State. I think that's lazy. I think that's lame. I think that's weak. And you took the easy way out and you got a title. Well, I wasn't one of those people. I was like, I understand you're with Russell Westbrook and you're not able to control Russell, and I'm done. So he goes and wins 2 titles with Golden State. Now you go to Brooklyn and you give the Kyrie Irving. Everything went bad there.
Yeah.
And so now you're in Phoenix. And you're mad at Charles Barkley for calling you out. Like, I don't need a Hall of Famer's approval. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You absolutely need his approval.
You do.
And I think you need to listen to him. That's why you listen to old heads. They've been there before. And humble yourself. My gosh. Anyway, so I just think that Charles Barkley has called it correctly. Yeah, it was a brazen statement. Yeah, it was a harsh statement, but to legitimize yourself, you won 2 titles with a team that didn't need you.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, as much as people, dislike Draymond Green, justifiably or not, he told Kevin Durant, hey, yo, dude, we don't need you. And the reality is, as harsh and even as inappropriate as that statement may have been, it was true.
It was true.
And so you eat that. Just eat it and stay with Golden. And if you have any guts, stay with Golden State. Why did you leave?
Right.
Oh, you're mad at Draymond. Oh, is that what you mad? You're in your feelings because he told you something you didn't like. And you'd be winning titles still if you had stayed. I mean, people may not have liked it, but you have 4 or 5 titles right now had you stayed at Golden State.
Right.
That team stacked. And I'm going to get to Golden State later. But in my humble opinion, in order for Kevin Durant to be legitimate, and the Phoenix Suns look nasty.
Yeah, they look good.
They look really good.
They were good before they got Kevin Durant.
Yes.
They were good before they had Kevin Durant.
Well, I was about to allude to the fact that they were in the hunt for a title just last year and the year before that with CP3.
Exactly.
And so now you add Kevin Durant, and it's almost another Golden State situation, but clearly they need him.
Right.
This is not the Golden State situation. They need Kevin Durant.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that this is an opportunity for him to show if he doesn't get it done. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking at him with the side eye.
Yeah.
Like, KD, dude, I don't know. But I'm going to leave KD alone, and I'm going to move to another legit. We were talking about the Golden State Warriors. And my question about Golden State, you've got now a healthy Steph Curry. He's back on the floor. And, Klay Thompson's been holding. Klay Thompson is starting to come into Klay Thompson form.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as we criticize Draymond Green for not being, that great of a player, and if he didn't have Golden State, nobody would know who Draymond Green is. Maybe true to a certain extent, but he's very important to their chemistry. Do they have a legitimate chance at a title?
Yes, they do. 100%. They have essentially the same team last year, their championship team last year.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that they're better than what they were last year. Now, the one thing with them that I believe they need to get better at is their defense. They
Okay.
haven't been the Golden State Warriors of the past defensively.
Yeah.
And I think they got to get back to that. I think they're more focused on just trying to outscore and shoot threes and things like that. And what's really, yeah, they were great at doing that in the past, but they were also a great defensive team. So they have to get back to that. But I think with Andrew Wiggins coming back, that will help them out a lot in that category. But yeah, they're a legitimate, they have a legitimate chance at the title. I mean, when you have Steph Curry on your team, anything is possible. And you have a leader like Draymond Green. You have Klay Thompson, who's actually been playing better than he did last year when they won.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole, who's just been playing phenomenal this year. You have Andrew Wiggins, who's another all-star. And then two guys that I like that come off the bench are Dante DiVincenzo, the backup point guard, who I think was a big piece they added to this year's team, and also Jonathan Kuminga, who I think has been playing extremely better than he was last year.
Okay.
So I think they have a great chance of winning the title.
I think they do. I think as they approach the playoffs and kind of get their feet back under them, particularly more specifically Steph Curry, watch out.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
watch out. I'm not writing them off. I am not writing the Warriors off. And I think it's going to be really interesting what happens come playoff time. Like I said, this is going to be not only an interesting playoffs, it's going to be, I think this will be the most interesting playoffs we've seen in about 10 years.
Yeah, for sure.
With all the changes that have occurred. And speaking of change, you think of Russell Westbrook, who's now an LA Clipper, but I'm looking at them kind of side-eyed right now. Has Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook's window for a championship closed?
Yeah. I don't believe it's closed, but I do believe they need to figure it out soon. They haven't been looking good at all. I mean,
no, they haven't.
Kawhi Leonard has been playing like Kawhi Leonard, but it's going to come down to the other two, Paul George and Russell Westbrook. And we already know when it's playoff time, Paul George is nowhere to be found. He's nowhere to be found.
No, he's not.
And Russell Westbrook is just Russell Westbrook. We already know him. So
yeah,
they have to find it soon. I mean, before the playoffs come, they have to find it within the next few weeks. And I don't think they have it right now. And they on the paper, you should, if you read every team in the NBA, you read the rosters, I believe a lot of people would pick the Clippers to win the title for who they have on their team and the type of team that they are. But I don't know. I don't know what it is with them. It's going to come down to Paul George and Russell Westbrook, in my opinion. I think Kawhi Leonard is going to play like he always does, how he always is. But it's going to come down to Paul George and Russell Westbrook to me.
It is. And the sad thing about it, and I really hope that this is not true, but I think it has to be mentioned. Russell Westbrook, at this moment, we got a lot of basketball left because he just got there a week and a half ago. But at this moment, he doesn't look like a guy that fits in with stars.
Right.
You know, you look at Russell and his great athletic ability and his talent and so forth, and you go, oh, yeah, that's going to work. I mean, that's a done deal. And they're struggling to find their way. I don't know what it is about Westbrook fitting in with a strong cast of players.
Yeah.
But it's not working right now.
No.
I mean, I watched the Clippers lose to Denver a week ago, and Kawhi Leonard had a monster game. And Paul George in a big moment was just there. I mean, he wasn't outstanding.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook wasn't outstanding, and they lost.
Yeah.
And you look at the Denver Nuggets, and you go, I'm like, Nikola Jokic's game is ugly, but very effective. Like the guy shoots awkward jumpers. He runs awkward, everything about him, but you can't guard him.
Nope.
You can't guard Nikola Jokic. He's got possibly a third MVP coming his way. He's now got a healthy, what's my man's name? Jamal Murray. He's
Yep.
got Michael Porter Jr. And the Nuggets are they're the quietest championship team in the league, right? Potential championship team in the league. Your thoughts on the Nuggets?
I like the Nuggets team. I don't know why they haven't made a lot of noise in the playoff runs in the last few years, but I don't know. I like their team and they're really good. I love Jokic, but I still feel like they're missing something. They're missing something. I don't know what it is, but they're missing something to take them over that hump. They're a great regular season team, but for whatever reason, when it comes to the playoffs, they're not the same team. And I don't know what it is. That's why I feel like they're missing something.
Yeah, I mean they may be. I think last year I'll give them a pass just because Murray was not
Yeah.
available. But he is now. He's healthy and strong. They had a strong run in the bubble, didn't get it done, and now they are like a 1 seed with some room to spare. Like they're gonna have like a 6-7 game lead on Memphis, who's starting to go in the wrong direction, and we know why. But still, you look at the Nuggets and you go, I don't know quite how to view this team, but they are going to be in the mix, and I could easily see them winning the whole thing.
Yeah,
no question about it. But I'm intrigued by Denver.
Yeah,
I'm very intrigued by Denver. I want to see how they go in the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, Nikola Jokic is unguardable.
Yeah,
he's unguardable.
I feel like he's going to be the MVP again this year.
And you look at him and you go, there's no way
he's
going to make that shot. Bottom.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to score on that. Bottom. Every time he takes a shot, that ain't going in. Bottom. Every freaking time. And he's turning and twisting his body. Look at all this. Right through the bottom.
Yep.
And of course, you got Jamal Murray, great ball player, Michael Porter Jr., and they have other things going. They play defense too.
Yeah, they do.
They play defense, but no one's talking about them.
Yeah.
Not a word is anyone speaking about Denver, other than the fact that they're number 1 seed, and Nikola Jokic is probably going to win MVP for the 3rd straight year, but they're not talking title. Watch out. Next question. Can Luka and Kyrie make things work in Dallas? You saw Luka the other day in Devin Booker's face. Like they're going to fight. Every time I look up at Luka Doncic, he's crying about something. I've never seen that. Guy's a tremendous offensive player. But you know what? He's out of shape. You know what else? He didn't play defense.
Nope.
You know what else? He doesn't run the floor. You know what else? He's not a monster on the glass. Can he shoot? Oh, yeah. He can shoot the lights out. Can he handle the ball? It moved like, a bucket of molasses, but you can't get the ball from him. He is so slow, but you cannot get the rock from Luka.
You can't.
Now you add Kyrie Irving, who's much like this Luka Doncic. He's the best ball handler in the league. Great shooter. Can they make things work in Dallas?
I believe they can. I agree with everything you said about Luka, about him being slow, out of shape, doesn't play defense, anything like that. But he still has been getting things done in the last 2 years of the playoffs. He's been doing everything by himself.
Literally.
And I've always said he just needs one more person with him. Just one more person with him. And this is probably my favorite trade that happened this year with Kyrie going to Dallas. That takes so much pressure off of Luka in late game situations and in tight situations just throughout the game. And it gives Luka an extra rest. It gives him some extra rest so he's not dog tired at the end of the game. And now he has another burst of energy in the 4th quarter if the game is tight. I like the Dallas team. The Dallas team and as a whole is just a very, very good team. And adding Kyrie, another superstar, along with Luka, I think it just opens a lot of things up for him. Because if you look at it today's NBA, you can hide a lot of guys defensively. The Warriors do it with Steph. The Lakers even do it with LeBron James. So defensively, I'm not really I'm not worried about Luka. He's still 6'8". He's still big. He's still strong. So I think he can hold his own. But I think as a team, Kyrie makes this team just so much better because the focus just isn't on Luka. I think there was a stat. It was about 94% or 96% of the possessions, Luka has the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
And I just don't, you're not going to win like that. There's no championship team where somebody who's dominating the ball that much has won a championship.
Okay.
And I think this just takes a lot of pressure off of Luka. And I think it just rejuvenates the whole team. Like, oh, we have Kyrie Irving. We have another superstar, an electrifying superstar. I think it just makes this team just a lot more dangerous, honestly.
Well, you said that he has the ball in his hands 96, 98% of the time prior to the arrival of Kyrie Irving. But it brings to mind these two gentlemen behind me. Now, this guy here, number 33, was the primary ball handler, although they had Steve Kerr and they had John Paxson and they had B.J. Armstrong to take over the official point guard duties. But make no mistake, Scottie Pippen was the point guard.
Right.
Scottie Pippen was the facilitator. So that allowed this gentleman here, number 23, to do his thing. Now, if you're going to assume the role of number 23, you better be ready to play 94 feet.
Yep.
There was another guy added to this mix here by the name of Ron Harper. Those three arguably were the greatest defensive line the league has ever seen. And so Dallas, they don't do a lot of that. And Luka doesn't do a lot of what 23 did. Not that anyone could. That's asking a lot. But you got to play 94 feet. You know, you got to tell mama, no spaghetti today. I got to get in shape, and I got to make this championship run, and I got to be ready to play all aspects of the game. What a lot of people don't realize is as much as Michael Jordan dominated offensively, he was first team all NBA defensively.
Right.
First team, 9 straight years. I think Kobe Bryant had 7 first team, all defense. See, a lot of guys forget that part of it. You know, they just see the high flying dunks, the highlight reel, all this stuff. There's a reason. I hate to say this because I love Dominique Wilkins. There's a reason they called him the human highlight film. Because he was a human highlight reel. But, dude, he didn't play defense like Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't all up in your grill like MJ and Scotty and Ron Harper were. And not to mention Dennis Rodman. I mean, they were getting after you on defense. And we just remember the offensive exploits. And that's something that Dallas is just going to have to do. That's something that Kyrie Irving is going to have to do. It's great that he does those videos in the Spider-Man suit and whatnot. Dude, you got to play defense. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on this. I do want to now narrow this thing down to a potential NBA champion. I mentioned Denver. I mentioned Golden State. I mentioned the 76ers. Even Dallas. Even the Clippers. I don't think I mentioned Boston. I think they are definitely a team that you're going to have to watch out for. But in my estimation, and I'm just throwing it out for your consideration, how big of a threat are the Milwaukee Bucks with a healthy Chris Middleton?
Oh, huge percent. If they have a healthy Chris Middleton, I have them winning the championship.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion.
Page.
They do it both ends of the floor. They have a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Drew Holiday is an exceptional offensive and defensive player. And if you have a healthy Chris Middleton, who's another almost superstar on the offensive end of the floor, and he does play defense. Their team is good. They're just a championship team with a healthy Chris Middleton. Now, that's going to be the key. I think that's the only thing that's kind of like, oh, are the Milwaukee Bucks going to win it? Or are they going to take it all the way? Is that guy right there, Chris Middleton. So it's going to be solely on him.
Yeah, I just think if he's healthy, I mean, you just watch out for the Bucks. I mean, Giannis is taking on the position to me of the best player in the world. I mean, we automatically say LeBron James, who's 38, and let's just face it. I think that LeBron is done. He's like Tom Brady. It's like, dude, I think that you've shot your last shot. And but that being said, but then you look at Kevin Durant, You look at Luka Doncic. I'm telling you, Giannis Antetokounmpo might be the best player in the world
Yeah.
when healthy.
I've been saying that for the last 3 to 4 years, I believe Giannis has been the best in the world.
And you throw a guy like Chris Middleton out there, who's really essentially, for all intents and purposes, a Scottie Pippen to Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, when Chris Middleton gets cooking, dude, you can't beat them.
Nope. You can't.
I mean, Boston barely beat them last year without Middleton.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, and I'm just looking at them. I'm like, dude, I mean, all Middleton needs is to be. It's just like when John Paxson was wide open or Steve Kerr was wide open, who were great, deadly shooters. Even B.J. Armstrong. I mean, you thinking about Michael and Scotty. You not, and those guys are wide. They're going to hit that shot. And you're thinking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Not to mention, my gosh, what is the point guard's name? He's very underrated but highly effective. What's the point guard's name for Milwaukee?
Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday's highly effective. Big physical point guard.
Yep.
And he makes a big difference.
A huge difference.
So you're just looking at Milwaukee and you're like, man, oh man. I would love to see, and I mean, anything can happen. It's going to be fun, like I said. I'd love to see Golden State and Milwaukee go at it in the finals.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just for my buddy, that would be pretty awesome. We're looking at tonight's matchups. The games that are going on in the NBA right now, and one that was kind of shocking, believe it or not, the Charlotte Hornets, get this, the Charlotte Hornets tonight beat the Knicks 112-105. See, wow. This is why you can't trust the Knicks.
Yeah.
You're in MSG, and you're playing probably one of the worst, if not the worst teams in the NBA. And you lose on your, where was it, a 9-10 game winning streak?
Yeah.
And you lose to the Hornets?
Yeah.
This is why, and all the New York fans, oh, here we come, all the Knicks fans. Here we come, yo. Hey, man, you still doing that same stupid stuff.
No.
I don't trust the Knicks. Are they a dangerous team to play in the postseason? Yes. They're dangerous. They're not championship material.
No.
And then I look at some of the other games that are going on in the NBA. The Brooklyn Nets over the Rockets 111-91. That's not a big deal. The Oklahoma City Thunder, with about 5:27 left in the fourth, are doing a number on Golden State, 125-112. So I got some other business going on here. My bad. Anyway, so we got actually Brooklyn's got about 4 minutes and 20 seconds left against the Rockets, but they're gonna take care of Houston. The Mavericks 79-72 over the Jazz in the third. The Grizzlies just underway in Los Angeles. The Bucks over the Magic 134-123. The Whiz Kids 119-117 over the Pistons. What a woeful team they are. I don't know what happened to Detroit. They're terrible.
Yeah.
And then as I said, the Knicks lose at MSG to the Charlotte Hornets. So I just look at that. I go, this stuff's crazy. And then the last score of the night. Hold on, my bad. The last score of the night is let's see, the Sixers 117-94 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now the Timberwolves were a factor at one point. What happened to the T-Wolves?
Karl-Anthony Towns. He got hurt.
Okay.
He's been out. That's their other superstar. Anthony Edwards has been phenomenal. I think he's going to be one of the next superstars after, LeBron and Kevin Durant and them. But yeah, they need Karl-Anthony Towns. They can't do anything without him. Now, if they had him, their team is not bad at all. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns is a dominant player. You put him alongside another dominant player, Anthony Edwards, takes a lot off his shoulders. You have Rudy Gobert, who's supposed to be, helping them out tremendously this year. But I just think the absence with Cat just kind of pushed them back. So that's what's been happening with them.
So the final thoughts on your part, Cameron, as we get ready for the playoffs. We're about Oh my gosh, we're here in early March, and the playoffs are going to be starting up. I guess I would say early to mid-April, around
Mhm.
about in there. You got a couple of months. What do you think about the Pelicans as we get closer to the playoffs and Zion Williamson?
Um, they have to get Zion Williamson back to make any type of noise. I don't think with the team they have now, they're still going to be a tough out. But they still, I don't even know what seed they are right now. I think they're in the playoff game, playoff tournament right now.
Well, the Pelicans right now, as it would, if the playoffs started today, let's see, the Pelicans would be trying to get into the play-in.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So
They would.
yeah, I think for them to make any type of push, they're going to need Zion. They have a really good team, but it definitely evolves around Zion and Brandon Ingram. But they definitely need Zion. He's definitely a huge part to their team.
Well, he makes all the difference. I mean,
Yeah.
they're 31 and 34 right now. They're literally in the 12th spot, and they could get into the play-in. The
Mhm.
Lakers could get into the play-in. I don't even like the play-in business. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But without Zion, the Pelicans they can't really operate. But we're a couple of months away from the start of the playoffs, and
Mhm.
I got Milwaukee, like I said, as my favorite. But there's so many storylines that could
Right.
unfold. I want to see what Joel Embiid is going to do with James Harden. I want to see
Mhm.
if the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic can make a run. But you've already said that you think the Bucks are going to be the championship team of the year.
Yep, with a healthy Chris Middleton, I think the Bucks, hands down, are going to just run through the East and the West. Oh, there's a lot of teams in the West that can make it. I would like to see the Suns make it. I would like to see the Suns make it because I would like to see the Suns versus the Bucks. I like that matchup, but we'll see. I don't know. It's anybody's title. I believe it's anybody's title.
And when you look at Chris Paul has been trying for the longest to beat Steph Curry.
Mhm.
I mean, dude, they've had some monumental matchups too. I mean, when
Mhm.
he was in Houston with Russell and James Harden, well, I think it was just him and James over there. They had some great matchups. He's tussled with them, and you can go back to the L.A. Clippers. He's been tussling with Steph
Yeah.
Curry, and he's been doing the same thing in Phoenix, and he just hadn't been able to get it done.
Mhm.
Chris Paul is probably 38, 39 years old. I mean, the guy's getting up there. He's in great shape. He can still
Yep.
run the point with the best of them. At
Yep.
his age, he
Oh, for
can
sure.
still run point with the best of them.
Right.
Tremendous player. He played in Greensboro, North Carolina. My brother coached against him in Greensboro, North Carolina. They were in the same division. My brother coaches over at Northwest in
Okay.
Greensboro. And when Chris Paul was coming through, he had a chance to coach against him. He saw him play straight up as a kid. And me being a North Carolina guy, he's a homeboy for me. But he just can't seem to get over that hump. Well, he's
Yeah.
got Kevin Durant now, and this may be the year that he does it. I mean, Chris Paul, dude, I feel bad for him. He deserves a ring.
He deserves it. I've always said that he deserves it.
So there's so many storylines coming up in the NBA playoffs here as we're about 2 months away from that.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Maurice Brown Show NBA edition with Cameron Robinson. Want to remind you from a comedy standpoint, coming up in Triangle, Virginia, Greater New Life Christian Fellowship Church, the One Love Comedy Conference, Living on Laughter, is coming your way, and you don't want to miss that. I got a lot of comedy buddies that are going to be a part of that. I'm going to try to be a part of it, but it's October 5th through 7th. If you want tickets, go to lolgca.org, and you can get your tickets and get yourself squared away. That's going to be October 5th through the 7th. You got plenty of time to prepare for that. Also, if you missed the show, if you enjoyed it, hey, first of all, you can watch the replay on Facebook and YouTube, or tomorrow on the Creative Motion Network on Roku TV, or like it and share it and subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy Channel. You can also listen to this show where all major podcasts are heard: Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, RadioCast, Pocket Cast, you name it. We are there. Check it out. This has been a great show. Cameron, thank you for being a part of it. And we'll try to hook up next week and see what has transpired in the NBA. New York Knicks fans, calm down. Just calm down and let's just see what happens. You got a good team. Don't get ahead of yourself, and let's see what happens. You got a lot of time to straighten out. They got some stuff working in New York. I'll give them credit. They look good, but they still are a work in progress, and they may spoil the party for sure. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
They can spoil the party for somebody at this point. So we'll see what happens. Cameron, thanks again for being on the show, my man, and may the peace of Christ be with you and your family, brother. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too.